at this point, I had to go get the camera, and like, so, because the more I keep, the more Spirit just keeps giving me. How do you know if your soul is being called to do something? Because it won't leave you alone. It ain't gonna leave you alone. It's not gonna leave you alone. It's gonna be like, yeah, you remember it, yeah, and then it's gonna keep coming to you in every which way, and it's just gonna just keep speaking to you. The universe has a way of letting it keep falling into your lap. Soft, gentle nudges that says this is something that you should look into. So basically, it's coincidences. Coincidences, or what did they say? I think I heard years ago, coincidences are instances where spirit or God chooses to remain anonymous, but he keeps throwing things. So when you get in the place of flowing with spirit, you begin to take every little nudge as a word from him, as direction, as guidance. And as you pay attention to every little brick that's thrown, it's like a brick that's building up a wall. Get here, put this in your toolbox. Put this in, or like a tool being thrown at you, and you take those tools and it leads you on a path, and the path is a path of discovery. It's your journey. It's set apart for you. So other people, they're going to take those tools and bricks as being because they're on the wrong path. But for you, you'll realize that everything is part of, thank you. It's part of you're paving the road, and then the road and the journey is your journey. It's nobody else's journey. This is why you can't take people with you. This is why you have to cut people off. This is why when the thing is in you to do it, you can't talk to other people about doing it because they're going to shut it down. They don't want you to do it. Because why? A lot of people are fear. There's fear, and there's jealousy, there's envy, and it's like, where does she get this this courage from that I don't have? How is it that she's able to move so freely and I can't move so freely? And they don't intend to be, but it can be very jealousy. It can turn into jealousy and envy and holding you back and throwing stumbling blocks in your way. So when you realize that this is something I want to do, you begin to put the plan in motion without telling people. It's better to go tell the public than to tell the people that are directly related to you and directly connected to you, because they want to hold on to you. They want to know, why you, not me? Where are you going? Why can't I go with you? Because it's not said that way. And I can't fly so freely if I had all that baggage on me. If I had all that weight on me, I cannot get up and go do the things. But the thing that I always remember is when when Spirit sent me to Florida back in 2016, and he says, get up and go. When I tell you to go, go. All right. And so that's how he deals with me. I don't know how he deals with you, but this is how he deals with me. And when he tells me to go, I get up and I go. And then when I get there, as soon as I crossed the borderline, as soon as he saw that I was going, and I'm telling you, there was some things that got in the way. Like, I had a whole lot of brand new stuff for a house that didn't come through, and apartment I was looking for, and I kept saying, why, Lord, why haven't I got my place? He said, because you're not doing what I told you to do. So I got down there and I started attending the church, but he said, go. And when I got down there, he was able, let me slow down. Because I'm telling you this story all out of sequence. So I was on the boardwalk, and he said, when I say go, go, I posted it. A woman inboxed me, and she says, oh my God, I supposed to be moving to Florida, and I didn't get up and go. And so immediately that said to me, wow, this is actually for me. She's saying this for her, but it's actually for me, because he had told me to go back to Florida. And I had already a storage down there where I was down there, and I was like, hey, this church is not it, Lord. As soon as I had gotten down there previously to take all that stuff and make all those trips, my sister told me a church to go to. I went to the church, Way of Life Church. I went to the church and I was like, wow, this is not it. Who's this leader? And I was able to, my gift is being able to see the gift in other people, and also to discern and hear spirit in a way that it's beyond psychic. It's just that just sometimes I'm just so tapped in that spirit uses me in a way that is really truly profound. And so when I got to Florida, you know, my phone started going off crazy. Everybody's calling me and everything. And that was the first time. I was trying to get a place, and I went to the church. I met the leaders, and I told them, you know, hey, I need to meet with you all. And they were like, who is she? And they wouldn't they didn't want to meet. But before that, I told them, you know, okay, so when I went down there, when I finally went back down, let me sit down. When I finally went back down, this is now becoming a longer story than I anticipated. How do I get this down here? Okay. And so when I went back, Spirit says to me, he says, Way of Life Church. So I go into the Way of Life Church, and I said to the people, now on my way down there, when I crossed the Georgia borderline, immediately I heard Spirit say, I sent you because somebody prayed for you. He says, somebody prayed for you. I'm sending you because somebody prayed for you. So basically, I was going because he was answering somebody's prayers through me. And so I go to the church and I say to the leaders, there's 3 leaders there. There's a lady who was like 20 years there, and she was the assistant pastor or something. And then there was a pastor and the first lady. And so I say to the first lady, I say to the leaders, let me put this, so I say to the lady, I say, you know, Spirit is saying to me that somebody prayed for me. What did you pray? And so they were like, let me turn this TV off. Okay, sorry about that. I know how to drown out the background noise so good. I forget sometimes other people aren't as good at that as I am. And so basically, he said, I sent you because somebody prayed for you. And I go to the pastor, and I go to the first lady, and I say, you know, hey, you know, what's your prayer? So what's going on? The Lord sent me down here. He said somebody prayed for me. And so I get there, and I'm telling you, my sister had the word. I had the word that says, go when I say go. My sister years ago, or maybe a year earlier, had said, I had seen a sign, a one-way sign. It says go. It said Florida. That's what I think. It said Orlando or Florida. I think it said Orlando. Yeah, because my sister was living in Northport, and so I went and stayed with her, and I drove to Orlando. But I knew I wasn't going to stay where she was at, or try to find a place in that area, because I seen the sign that said, I had a vision that said Orlando. So these are pieces, one piece at a time, that led me on a journey. One brick thrown at me at a time to build a path or a wall or a floor, you know, to one paver at a time that paved the way for me to get to where I got. And that's how I am in life. Everything is one thing at a time, and I pay attention to the coincidences or the synchronicities, and as I follow them, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong, even though it's just one thing. So I had the one-way sign that said Orlando. My sister said to me one day, and I never even told her about the vision that I had. She says, you know, Z, I don't know, but, you know, maybe you should come try living in Florida. It's something different about the atmosphere when you leave out of the state or out of Trenton, because I'm originally from that area. And She says, there's something amazing about it that, you should try. And I said, wow, it's funny you should say that, because maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, I had seen a vision and a sign that says Orlando, it was on a one-way sign, like one way. I don't know why. Yeah, but anyway. And so those are all synchronicities that led me to follow. And every time I followed one, he added another. And so my sister, she said, I followed through. I went down there. I stayed in Northport with her. I traveled to the church that she told me about, that was in Orlando, Way of Life. Because when I got down there, she said, "Z, I don't know if this means anything to you, but I was just thinking about starting a ministry down there. That's why I thought I was going down there." And he gave me the name Way of Life Ministries. And she said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, Ren, let me see what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know what it is, but if that's..." And so I Googled it. I looked up. There was one in Bahamas or something, and there was one in Orlando. I was like, "Let me go and check it out." So that next following Sunday, I looked it up. I went. I introduced myself to her. I said, "Hey, I just, I went for a few times, and then I introduced myself. I got the vibe. I felt the church out. I just paid attention to the Spirit, prayed, and saw what I saw. And at some point, I got the word from the Lord to release to the house. And I said, I'd like to meet with you all. I said, somebody, what did you pray? I asked the leaders, what did you pray for? Because he sent me here because of somebody's prayers. And the first lady, she says, well, I'm just praying for souls, and we just want the house to grow, and da-da-da-da-da, just praying. And then it was just a regular old standard, religious prayer. And I asked the pastor, and he too the same, just want to grow the ministry and, do what God has sent us to do. And but then there was this assistant pastor. I'm telling you, she was like an authoritative teacher. She was disciplined. I could see she was instructor, and her name was Dr. something. I don't even remember her name, but I went to her. And I said to her, the Lord, I met her on a Bible study night or whatever. And I said to her, the Lord sent me here. He says that, one moment. She says, and I said, the Lord sent me here because of somebody's prayers. Her response was this: well, if that's the case, then we'll see. And I knew then that she was the person who had prayed, but I did not know what it is she had prayed for. And so when I saw that she was preaching, a few weeks went by. I stopped going to the church because it wasn't doing anything. It just was like, what's the point? And then I was still wondering, what? I bought all this brand new stuff. I thought I was moving into a place. Lord, what's going on? And I stopped going to the church. I didn't do anything. I just sat dormant for a couple of weeks, tussling with the word that I actually had to release. And then he says, well, when you handle my business, I'll handle yours. Whoa. I called the church and the leaders, and I said, look, hey, the Lord sent me down here. I have a word for you in this ministry, and I need to meet with you all. I want to, share with you. It was around the holidays, so they really didn't have any time to meet with me. So they were supposed to get on a conference call that Saturday. It didn't happen. So boom. I was at the church that Sunday, and the assistant pastor was preaching. And when she got up there, I'm telling you, it was like night and day from the pastor. The pastor had preached the Thanksgiving, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and then we went away. I went back home. I came back after the holidays. I saw her, and I said, I I have the word, I'm going to write it down. And I said, I went to her service and I said, wow, you are full of fire. And I hear the Lord saying that it's your time to reign over this church. And she just dropped what she was doing and ran across the stage screaming and stuff, because she had prayed. And she says, I've been here for 20 plus years, I believe. And she said, I have seen it in its former glory. She said, I seen it when it started and the leader who had started it. And she said, it's dwindled down to nothing but maybe a handful of consistent followers. And she said, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And matter of fact, she didn't even tell me this. I left the church and then she called me before I got home, my hour-and-a-half drive from Orlando to Northport, Florida. And this is when she began to say, I thank you, woman of God, because you are a true prophet. She says, I called because, she said, I had prayed to the Lord and I told him that I couldn't do it any longer. And she says, leaders have been coming in and they have been prophesying the same thing. But because they were former members, I guess they didn't want to believe it. But what I could see was adamant that she was the fire. She was full of the Holy Ghost. She was powerful in her presentation and disciplined in her approach, and a doctor. She's literally a doctor. And so... and I'm sure she's now the pastor of that ministry. And I told her, I said, well, I want to give this and I want to share this word because I had told her right after she had preached, I had told her what the word of the Lord was for that house. And she's, the leaders weren't there. And so I said, well, I need to share it with them as well. How do you suggest? Because I had this conference call, you all didn't have time for it. What if she says, write a letter and send it to the house? And so I wrote a letter and sent it to a house, advising them to send it to their bishop or their overseer or whatever, and that we could all meet on a conference call. And I carried the letter around with me for a few months so that I can go back and reflect to it if they should need to call me about any questions or concerns concerning the letter. But basically, she says, I appreciate you because I prayed and I said, Lord, you're going to have to send somebody that neither one of us knows. Dr. Jamison, I believe her name is. And he did just that. She prayed that prayer, and by golly, the Lord answered that prayer. And so I'm saying all of this to say that when you move and flow with spirit and you become yielded vessel, when you say yes, your yes is going to cost you something. Your yes is going to cost you something. It's going to always cost you. Every level keeps every range. Jacob said every range goes higher and higher. And every time there's going to be a sacrifice. And every time you are going to be the one who sacrifices. You're the one who gets sacrificed in your journey, And so in that, we lay down our lives to become a yielded vessel for a flow of spirit. To do what he wants us to do and to be. That's my point right there. I said all of that to get to this point right here. We need to be where he needs us to be at the time that he needs us to be. So if he needs you in Indonesia, India, Bali, Malaysia, Africa, Sierra Leone, wherever he needs you at, you need to be there when he's there. When he needs you there. And this is how they said, you know what? There is water. What hinders us to be? And I believe in that. I believe in being transported. I believe in the Spirit moving me to the places where I need to be for the people that I need to touch. And so I need you to come and travel with me and be there with me. Be my arms where I can't reach. When he say, touch the lives of the people that we need to touch for the occasions that we need to be there, showing love and gratitude to all of humanity. That's what we're here for. We're here for humanity, not just for ourselves. And so in it, there's a sacrifice. Shekinah Glory wrote that song, your yes is going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you to lay down some things and to leave some things behind and to let go of some things. And the most important thing, as soon as I begin to realize this is the journey that I was going on in this season, As soon as my heart said yes, my mind, my body, and my soul so it says yes, I'm telling you, it just began to move faster and faster. And so, first stop, put it in put it in the comments if you guys think you know where first stop is gonna be. It's nice to see, but I'm headed out. I'm headed out in the next couple of months, and I'm going to be traveling and vlogging my spiritual journey. A lot of people think they're just running away, and a lot of people think they're just going on a journey or just traveling, but sometimes we're doing what it is we have been destined to do. And when you get in the flow of destiny, you become unstoppable because you're like a force, a wind that cannot be stopped. You become unstoppable because why? I'm going with the wind. So, you know, that's one of my scriptures that I do love, always loved, was be like the wind. Wherever, which way the wind floweth, will I go. Being like the wind of the Spirit. And so we just want to flow with Spirit. Wherever He wants us to be, that's where we want to be. Wherever it takes us. And we touch the lives in that area, in that region. It's something powerful that we understand. We begin to understand the power of our presence and pulling our energy back and siphoning it to a particular area and getting into an area and letting it illuminate that area. Just because your feet touch the ground, just because a word goes out, is powerful beyond measure. You have no idea of the ripple effect that you have on the when you begin to speak a thing into existence, you know. Ooh, when you are conjoined to the hip with Spirit, you know, when we are joined to Spirit like that, when we are one with Him, my words, you know, and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in thy sight. You know, we become one with Him. I see, I hear, you know, as Jesus said, the words in the red, remember in the New Testament, those certain Bibles that had all the words that Jesus spoke in the red, they stand out for a reason. He says, I only say what I hear my Father say. I only do what I see my Father doing. And when we become like that, we become more and more aligned to what it is that He wants us to do. And when you do that, when you're looking to find what it is you want to do, it keeps calling you. And the more you do it, the one thing, the easier the flow becomes. And it becomes easily, effortlessly. You're doing it effortlessly. You don't have to apply a lot of force to it or effort to it. The door is open because it's what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, if someone else was to stand in this position and try to do what I'm doing, it wouldn't go down like this because there's something in my DNA. There's the anointing that's attached to my words. It's the connection to the Spirit. And the Spirit don't look at me and say, who are you? Paul, the demons don't look at me and say, Paul, I know. Jesus, I know, but who are you? There's something about the voice that's just not doing it. There's something about the DNA. There's something about the anointing. There's something about it that's just not doing it, or that's doing it. And that's how it is, you know. And so people can never steal your destiny. They can never do what it is you're called to do. But they are anointed to do something, but it is not what you're called to do, you know. And that's what we have to know. We can't just do what everybody else is doing if it's not. You can start doing it, but in it, at some point, you ought to see that I don't have a passion for this. I don't have a desire for this. It's not doing what it do for her. It's not doing it right. And that's how you realize. And then you're supposed to be able to go back and look and see what part of it that you do love. And that's where you tap into what it is you love. Don't tap into what I love, because what I love to do and what you love to do is not going to hit the same way, you know. And it will be effortless for you when you step into what it is you love to do. And even if you do start copying off of people, that's fine, because that's how you find your flow. And that's how you find your niche. They say, you know, that's how you find what it is you are anointed in. You start doing something and then begin to narrow it down to what now I'm doing what I love to do. And when you're loving to do it, nobody can keep you from it. But it is saying, nothing but death can keep me from it. Yeah, color purple has been affected. But so that's what I wanted to do, is just tap on that again. And that video took a little longer than I expected, but we're going to upload it anyway and pull a couple of shorts out of that. Again, please like the video. Please subscribe as an amen, as a testament to that we're on a journey. And I promise you that as you come on the journey with me, as I find what it is I'm called to do, you too will step in. You will step in line. You will become more aligned with your purpose and your calling. And when you do that, when you step into what it is you're called to do, the Lord will make way for you to do it in a way that becomes effortlessly, financially, and every other way. You know, you just open the doors for you to do it because it's what you're called to do, you know? Okay, so be blessed, and I'll come back again later on.